You're listening to Productivity Straight Talk with your host, Amber De La Garza. She is passionate, direct, and sometimes a little sarcastic, but always gives you what you need to succeed in business. Now, here's your host, Amber De La Garza, the Productivity Specialist.
Welcome and thank you for listening to Productivity Straight Talk. Today is episode 002, The Silent Profit Thief with Darren LaCroix. If you are an entrepreneur who wants to take consistent, massive, focused action in your business and life, then you're in the right place, and I'm so glad you've joined me. I am super excited about this episode because you're going to get to meet my friend, my mentor, and our guest, Darren LaCroix. In 1992, Darren LaCroix took the stage in a Boston comedy club and bombed it miserably. It was horrible. The headliner that night told him to keep his day job. And friends told him that his dream of making people laugh for a living was crazy and stupid. But you know what? He didn't listen. He may not have been born with a funny bone in his body, but he possessed the desire to learn and a willingness to fail. These were the essentials to achieving his dream. The self-proclaimed student of comedy is living proof that anything can be learned. In less than 9 years later, in 2001, Darren LaCroix outspoke 25,000 contestants from 14 countries to become the world champion of public speaking. He did it with a very funny speech. Some would say it was the best speech in the history of the contest. Since that victory, Darren has traveled the world demystifying the process of creating powerful presentations. His story has roused audience from faraway places like Australia and Singapore, Saudi Arabia, China, Malaysia, and Taiwan with his inspirational journey from chump to champ. He is passionate about showing people that if you have the right mentors, anything is possible if you're a sponge. Through his live workshops and online programs, Darren works with presenters eager to learn what it takes to deeply connect with the audience. He is the founder of StagetimeUniversity.com, the ultimate online program for presenters. While listening in on our conversation between myself and Darren, you will discover the one magic business question you should be asking and how disorganization may be robbing you of your profits, how just 30 minutes a day can keep the stress at bay, and how a few letters can gain you credibility in your industry. So let's dive right in and meet Darren LaCroix. Hi, Darren, and welcome to Productivity Straight Talk.
Hey, Amber.
I'm so glad you're here with us today. Let's begin by giving our listeners a glimpse into your business.
So my business model is currently an online university, and I go out and speak and do keynote speeches for free and for fee in order to build my online university. So years ago, my business model was just going and giving a speech and getting a check. So it's evolved over the 20 years that I've been a speaker. So right now, it's mostly my online university with supplemental income of paid speeches.
Wow, that's amazing. So what a transformation. I'm assuming that was brought on by a demand by your clients?
I would love to tell you that. It was actually a life choice and a business choice. Because in the old days, as many speakers 20 years ago, you would give a speech and get a check and give a speech and get a check. And maybe you'd earn a little bit more by books in the back of the room. So you had supplemental income. The thing that I didn't like about that is I didn't want to be a road warrior. And I also didn't want to earn a lot and I'm unemployed. Earn a lot and I'm unemployed. So I was looking for a business model that I could teach what I love. I could stay in Vegas most of the time, so I have live workshops, but in between, I'm staying connected with my university members online. So I'm teaching them using the internet as that key tool to stay connected with them in between. So they subscribe or they pay me a monthly fee to stay connected to my learning.
That's amazing. And I know your learning is out of this world. So that sounds like a wonderful university. So tell me a little bit about who your ideal client is.
My ideal client is somebody who wants to be a better presenter, who has an opportunity to be on stage or maybe desires to be on stage, but they know that if they're better at connecting with their audience, more articulate about getting their point across, and more inspiring to their audience, it's going to build their business. So whether they want to be a paid professional speaker or if they are a financial planner, that if they give better free presentations, they're going to bring more business to themselves. So that expert who wants to speak or someone who wants to be a paid professional speaker.
That's amazing. That's awesome. And you and I know a lot of speakers, don't we, Darren?
We do.
We do. So why did you choose the path of entrepreneurship?
I think it chose me.
I think that might be true for a lot of our listeners.
Yes. I realized that I worked for Bose Corporation for many years, the stereo speaker company. And I thought, I love marketing. I went to 4 years of business school and I knew this was something that I loved. I love marketing. I thought if I could have the ultimate job at Bose, what would it be? And I thought I would be the marketing director for the Bose aviation headset or maybe the Bose Wave music system. And I thought, yeah, that just doesn't drive me. Putting in the time and energy and effort to climb the corporate ladder, I don't mind working really hard.
I know you don't. I know you very well.
If the benefits come to me.
Right.
And I think that's what an entrepreneur is, who it's like, I've always loved the game Monopoly. Mm-hmm. So I look at it, it's a game with real money. Mm-hmm. And the more I serve, the more likely I am to earn. And you and I both know of T. Harv Eker, and he's got this great quote, and I love this. He says, an entrepreneur is a person who solves problems at a profit. I love that. Boom.
That's awesome. And so you're solving problems at a profit now, Darren.
Yeah. And for me, it started when I was in college. I had a landscaping business that every summer I would go home with one of my high school buddies, and we had this landscaping business, and it actually grew each year for the 4 years while I was in school. And, you know, we built it up to, we had a couple of employees and a couple of trucks of our own. And, it was exciting. And then I realized that it's a seasonal business. So after college, I looked for something that I could take what I loved and help people and then make it work all year long. And I also knew that I really didn't love the landscaping business. So it served me, but I got bit by this bug. And so when I was working for Bose, I realized I love marketing, but I wanted to do it for me. So I thought, well, the time that I was putting in, what if I did that to sell me as a product? And so eventually I was able to build my business enough as a speaker, as a trainer of other speakers, and as a business coach that I could quit my job and do it full time. So it took me many years, but I just knew I was not destined. And I was horrible at office politics. I could not suck up to the right person because I had to tell it like it is. So I got in trouble a lot because I was just honest and I just couldn't play the game.
That is so funny you say that. I would say that was one of my exiting ways too from corporate, is I wasn't good at the office politics. I was getting too direct for my own good in the corporate culture.
Exactly. But as an entrepreneur, that's what you need.
The next question I have for you is, how long have you been an entrepreneur? And I'm hearing since college? It's always been in your heart and part of who you are.
I graduated college in 1988, so it was probably 1985 that I started as an entrepreneur. It was so cool. It's like I could help people, I could do something, and I would get paid for that thing. So it was just directly correlated with my effort.
Awesome. Awesome. So give our listeners a little insight into what your day looks like as an entrepreneur.
For me personally, I get up and I'm a believer, so I kind of say my prayers. I do my morning reading, and then I sit down, and this is my challenge. Like, I still challenge, even though I love my business. I sit down and weed out the emails. Go through the emails. What's urgent? What's junk mail? What can I throw away? What do I have to reply to right away? And see what the urgent fires are. And then I tried to get most of my work done before noon and then keep the afternoons open for projects. So I always have one main project that I'm working on, whether it's a new program or coming up with a new marketing strategy or marketing campaign. So I try to get all the have to get dones done in the morning.
Okay, that's really good. And I know you personally, so I know you must get to your afternoons often because you produce a lot of content for your online university, for the people that you serve. I mean, honestly, I mentioned this in the intro. You are my mentor, and one of those reasons is that you are an executing machine. So I think we're going to hear more about that in our second segment, but I just want to recognize you that as a mentor, that's something I totally look up to you about. Tell us a little bit more about your designations. So you are WCPS and AS and CSP. All those letters mean something really cool, right, Darren?
Well, yes, it's an industry thing. And I think all of us need to look at our industry and our trade industry and what does it take to gain credibility inside of our industry or to people outside of the industry looking in. So I think it's a good idea to get those credentials. Now, I'm not saying it's essential, and I'm not saying anyone ever hired me because of those credentials after my name, but here's what I think really works. Let me explain. First of all, WCPS is World Champion of Public Speaking.
Boom.
It's a Toastmasters designation that I won in 2001, thanks to great coaches. Out of 25,000 contestants, I came in first. So it's a speech contest. AS is accredited speaker, meaning in the Toastmaster world, they see me as a professional speaker. And CSP is a certification by the National Speakers Association, which basically I have to prove and document that I earn at least $50,000 a year from speaking, directly from speaking, for 5 years in a row. Now, here's what I love about this. I love the quote, you probably heard it before, by Jim Rohn. He says, make it a goal to become a millionaire, not for the money, but for the person it makes you. And I say to other people and other speakers, don't go for the letters after the name. To have the letters after the name. Don't go for the trophy to have the trophy. Go for the trophy for the speaker it makes you, for the business person it makes you. The letters after the name are the side effect. And I think a lot of people get that intention wrong.
I think that's great advice. Now, isn't there something special about those combination of designations?
I'm the only one in the world who has all of them.
Yes. So
at this point.
Okay. As of this recording, you're the only one in the world that has those 3 designations. And so I know you wouldn't have said that, so let me say that for you. That's amazing. I often speak with my clients and I talk to them about how they're screwing their productivity without even necessarily knowing it. So Darren, tell me how you have screwed your productivity in the past and may have not even known it.
As I say, I try to get everything done before noontime, but when I'm speaking on the road, and I try to limit it, but I speak 3 or 4 times a month getting on the road, which isn't a lot for most speakers, but I made that my point. But sometimes when I go internationally, I'm gone for 2 weeks. Or sometimes those 3 come right in a row, so I'm gone for a week and a half. And I don't like that. And the problem is I come home and my office manager has put a pile of mail on the corner of my desk. And for me personally, that stresses me out. I hate being behind, whether it's email or my desk. And here's a mistake that I make. It's like, okay, I'll get to that. The pile's always going to be there. But what I forgot sometimes and need the reminder is there's bills, there's clients, there's some things in there that are time sensitive. And sometimes when I've let them go too much because I need to get caught up because I've been gone for a week, I've found that I didn't pay some bills on time. So I had to pay extra in interest. There's those things that not only me personally for stress, when I see the pile, I walk in the office, the first thing I see is the pile. It's almost like God shows a spotlight. Look at the pile.
It's your full attention.
Yes.
It's like, and I call that the clutter around us creates noise in our head, right?
Oh my gosh. And it drives me crazy. That's one of the things that really bothers me. And when you're stressed, you and I both know that you're not as efficient and you forget some important things and you overlook some important things. So for you and I, keeping that stress level is so important to our bottom line. And me keeping that pile down and realizing it's important to keep that pile down for my own stress, for my thinking, for my profits, for my clients, for my customers, and my suppliers that I have to pay. Because my goal is as soon as a bill comes in, I pay it. I want to be the first one that pays. So if I have a challenge or if I'm gone for 2 weeks, or if I ever have an inability to pay, that vendor, I'm going to be their favorite person to work with. Why? Because I always pay early.
That's a good business tip I wasn't expecting from you, Darren.
I get a little,
right?
Yeah, it's relationships. So I get a little grace period because I'm usually over years the first one to pay them. So I always get a little extra bonus because of that. And I got to give some of the credit to that to Patricia Fripp and Rick Siegel, who said, always be the favorite. So whether it's a speakers bureau I'm working with, a new client I'm working with, I always ask them the magic question, how can I be your favorite? when I start working with somebody, even if it's the vendor. What are your frustrations? What drives you crazy? And if I know what bugs them, okay, I know that to have a relationship with them, I can't do those things that bug them. So it's a great question in business. How can I be your favorite?
I actually just spoke with a vendor on the way here in the car and asked them the same thing. I don't want to be in the bucket of that annoying client. I want to continue working with you. So what is your expectation for edits? Because I had a few edits on what we were working with, and I got them on Skype instead of going back and forth via email for the same thing. You don't want it lost in communication, and it was just much more efficient to build that relationship and be the 5 minutes of investing in your vendor and making sure you're on the same page. So that's
because
awesome.
they're business people too.
Absolutely.
And as soon as we forget that or think, well, I'm paying them. Well, yeah, but they will solve problems if they're your favorite. They will give you grace period if they're your favorite. So why not try to be their favorite? That's crazy.
It's kind of like when you're a kid, you hear about the golden rule. So I want to do unto others, meeting other entrepreneurs and treat them how I want my clients to treat me, right? Respect and clear communication. So that is great. Want to reduce your stress? How about grow your business? Wish you had more time for family, friends, hobbies, and everything else you enjoy? Think you can't have all three? You're wrong. You just need to stop screwing your productivity. Text SCREW to 444999 to receive your free copy of 10 ways you're screwing your productivity. Or you can download your free copy at theproductivityspecialist.com/screw, SCREW. Now let's get back to Straight Talk with Darren. Other than the big pile on your desk, totally distracting you and sitting there and causing some fires. Sometimes I actually like to call those self-created fires because you know that they're there. And
I love learning that term from you because now I can identify them better. And my employees, the people who work for me, and my friends who are speakers, I can call them out on that. And I love that.
Yeah.
Self-created fires.
It takes the victim out of it. And when we take ownership, then we can identify what needs to change so it doesn't happen to us anymore. I'm always looking for how are we self-creating the fire, which generally is answering the question, what is the root problem? And then we can come up with a solution. So it's just another way of asking that question. But other than that productivity challenge that you're overcoming currently, what is your biggest productivity challenge that you have overcome?
When I first, now obviously I've been an entrepreneur for a while, and I've had my challenges and I've learned I've learned from mistakes. When my new office manager started with me a few years ago, I got clear on what was my best use of time. And we as entrepreneurs have to get clear on our best use of time. And so I sat my office manager down and I said, Regina, here's Darren's best use of time. Number one, me being on stage. Anywhere or everywhere, me being on stage, whether it's for fee or for free. That's my best marketing. That's my best way to bring new clients, the people who are hungry for what I can teach them. Number two, me creating content, marketing content, whether it's a free YouTube video, which I use YouTube relentlessly to market, which I love, and it's perfect for speakers, or writing articles for a trade journal. It's another great way to give content, because I'm a fan of content marketing, give good content to bring people to you. And then third, creating product. When I'm creating a new course for my university, the cool thing is, to me, it's like a puzzle. And I'm trying to figure out how to get that concept across so new people can understand it and learn it. So I get excited about that. But what it does for me is it allows me to duplicate. See, I can sell that to many, my current members, or use it to bring in new members to sell them that content. And so I said, Regina, that's my best use of time. Your job is to keep me doing those three things as much as possible, which seems great on the surface.
In theory,
In theory. Well, it's...
And it works. And I just want to identify for our listeners that the fact that you could identify your top three things is a huge win.
It took me years to do that. No,
absolutely.
It didn't happen overnight.
It's an evolution, right? And so the first step beyond implementing that, which we're going to find out how you're going to do that, beyond that is just identifying and coming up with that clarity of what is your highest and best use of your time.
And usually there's going to be a large portion in marketing. And if you think the first two are all marketing, whether it's content or me speaking, it's marketing.
Because you don't get to create content if there's no one to create it for, right, Darren?
Exactly.
Awesome. Okay, what is your challenge with doing those three things?
My challenge with doing those three things, and I wrote an article about this recently, inspired by you, because I was amberfied.
I think you're the only one that says amberfied. Maybe that will come up to
That's going to catch
good.
on.
Okay.
Yeah. So knowing what Amber did and knowing that I was getting a little out of control in our office, we needed somebody from the outside to come in and sit down with me and my office manager and look at all the systems and all the processes we had in place. And one of the things that came up for me was I wasn't staying ahead of that pile. Okay, what I would do 1, 2, and 3, doing my emails, doing everything else. That was like 4. And then cleaning or keeping organized was like 6th. And so the mistake that I made was I didn't realize what it was costing me, the profit that was slipping out of my hands because I wasn't organized, because I wasn't taking the time to do it. So the way I corrected that, the fix for that was, as soon as I'm away or a pile comes up, is I immediately put 30 minutes a day on my computer. I'd pull up Stopwatch, online-stopwatch.com. It's a free online thing. And I pulled it up and I set it for 30 minutes a day. And it becomes a top priority for me. Every day I've got to do 30 minutes. What that means is 30 minutes of focus time, not taking calls, not doing text, nothing else. And I delete the pile. I go down on the pile. Even if I can't get rid of the whole pile, if I make progress, I feel good.
Absolutely.
And if you feel good, you're going to be more productive. I'll be more excited. And I'm also more likely to do it tomorrow. So over time, the pile goes away. I feel better. The bills are caught up on. All my emails are answered. So sometimes I'll take that 30 minutes and put it towards my emails if I get behind in my emails. We've got to understand that being organized and staying on top of things helps us feel better, be more efficient, and think better about our top 3.
Totally, that clarity, because, whether it's digital disorganization, paper organization, we feel it internally. And it's that nagging noise that gets us so distracted from focusing on what your highest 3 activities are.
It's like a little voice. You're losing money. You're losing money.
Exactly. And the voice, with my experience with myself and clients, is that voice is actually telling you, don't tackle that pile. It's too big for you, Darren. Don't tackle that
Get that
pile.
later. You can do that later when you have more time.
Exactly.
And more time doesn't happen.
No.
God doesn't add an hour or a half an hour every other day for you just because you're nice.
Oh, geez. I would be out of business if that were true. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs would be happy, but that's not true.
It's just the opposite.
So
we lose a half hour, an hour every day.
Right. So the lesson is if you want to get it done, you need to schedule it and make the time. And you're using a stopwatch so that even if you're so excited about your organization time, it doesn't go past 30 minutes. You're on to the next thing because you get to do it again the next day, correct?
Almost.
Okay.
Almost correct. For me, what happens is sometimes I get on a roll and I'll go for 45 or even an hour if I'm on a roll and in the mode. And let's say I don't have a lot of other big things stacked up. So sometimes I'll do a lot more than 30 minutes, but it also means that I needed to, but I'm on a roll. That's fine. So if I only do 30 minutes, I'm okay with that. If I do more, it's bonus.
Awesome. That's great. And so you shared with us one of the tools that you use, the stopwatch. Are there any other tech things, or is it just a matter of setting the time, sticking to the time, and doing that organizing time?
It's never just a matter of anything.
Right. Okay.
But the other tool that I found helpful, because I'm a visual person, is Kanban Flow. KanbanFlow.com. And it's like a project managing tool for free online. And I like it because I'm very visual. So it allows me to not have 32,000 Post-its. Because my problem is I get caught up in the Post-its. So one of my cleaning tasks, if I start drowning in Post-its, one of my cleaning tasks is taking those Post-its and turning it into a Kanban project. So a little event that I need to do. And then it's almost like a puzzle. I need to take some time each day and rearrange the puzzle. What's more important? This project or that project? Or remember to update this web page or something like that. And it's very easy to flip it around. I'm not really technical. So I like it because it's easy to use. It's visual. I can assign different colors to different tasks and put it in different columns. So it allows me to have all my posted ideas, but in an organized place. So I love that tool. And I still got to condition myself to use it more often because I like to go to paper.
Right. I love that. And I know you use that. I had tried it and it didn't work as easily for me. We were working on a project together and you're like, you've got to use this program. And I'm like black and white. I'm like, give me a spreadsheet and I'll eat it alive. But I do use other programs as well. So I'm glad you're giving an option to our visual, maybe non-techie listeners to have a holding place for all those actionables and ideas. And it probably feels a little less overwhelming than sitting at your desk and having a smorgasbord of colors of sticky notes screaming at you, right?
It can stress you out and you physically feel it.
Right.
And then you don't want to work as much. When I'm in a clean office, an organized office, I feel more on top of it. Like, hey, I'm the man. And we got to feel that way. One more thing is you like the spreadsheets. I like Kanban. Here's what I've learned over time is the most important, most valuable tool is the one you use.
Yes, sir. I agree with that because it's about consistency, right?
Mm-hmm.
I believe that too. So I always say path of least resistance. We always want to try new apps and programs. And most of you listeners are probably searching right now his program that he shared with us. But the truth is that we need to really take in consideration, one, not just the monetary cost, but the onboarding, the opportunity, the time cost of bringing on a new app or program into our workflow. Mm-hmm. But I'm all about anything that creates efficiency, that's easy to use, consistency. I think it's a win if it satisfies those three areas. So let me just tie this back together with regards to organization and profits. So you told your assistant that you have 3 high-value activities, and your goal is to do those on a consistent basis.
Correct.
And you found that you were not maybe doing them as consistent because you had a lot of noise and disorganization and not really able to focus. So, like, you love writing articles, so let's go with that. Mondays are your writing day, right, Darren?
Yes.
Okay, so he has theme days. That's a whole nother win. So Mondays are his writing day. We'd get to Monday, and if you felt overwhelmed and you had nagging and you're not sure what you really need to be focusing on, you'd find yourself maybe buzzing around other things and not able to sit down and write the article. Is that true?
Yeah, it's hard. It's almost impossible to write if your head's going in 32 directions or you're worried about this. You got to get things done. You've got to be able to be focused to write. But we all need to be focused to be efficient anyway.
I agree.
The more efficient we are, the more profitable we're going to be. The more we're going to put time into those high-value tasks.
I agree. So in a nutshell, your business has benefited from implementing this strategy and you're seeing more profits?
Seeing more profits. It took a while when I was overwhelmed to turn things around. When you came in and worked with me and Regina, oh my gosh, she sounds all nice and everything on this podcast. Oh my goodness. When you get amplified, she puts the toot on. But the cool thing is I knew her heart was in the right place. I knew she was trying to help. And I also knew that I needed that. I needed somebody from the outside to sit down who cared about my business, to take the time and hold this up. It was like half the day. Okay, what are you using this? When was the last time you touched this? What do you use this for? What's this for? What's this? It was like militant. But it was exactly what we needed.
Right.
And my whole life, it was like these layers of stress came off over those 2 days. It was stressful those 2 days, but it was a whole different world and we were more efficient and it was less stress and it allowed us to go back to those top 3 tasks.
I love it. And so I thank you for reminding me that we worked together and it was 2 days and we were
forgot?
No, I didn't forget. But I mean, like reminding me that that's where it started. And that was a huge project, right? And in your mind, it was like this big undertaking and we addressed a lot of things. And then what was amazing, that this is like a little aha I wasn't expecting, is that there's a lot of our listeners that go clean off their entire desk or work on a project and then 1 month later it looks exactly the same. And so what you did was say, okay, I invested in Amber, I got amplified, I spent 2 whole days doing this, and what was my maintenance plan to make sure it didn't happen again? And your maintenance plan is your 30 minutes a day to keep yourself organized so that you never have to go and make it this huge project. It's a little bit every day that keeps you on top of your game.
And it keeps you feeling good too. We as entrepreneurs, our emotions play into our profits. And so we need to keep our emotions up because we've got so many fires we've got to put out every single day.
Great words of advice. So before we end, if my listeners would like to find out more about you, how can they do that?
You can check out StagetimeUniversity.com. But after years of coaching, over a decade of coaching other presenters, both corporate presenters, highly paid professionals, emerging speakers, I've found that there's so many mistakes that are easily corrected. So I kind of narrowed it down to the top 10 speaking mistakes. If you would like a PDF for free, just go to the top 10 speaking mistakes, TEN or the number, either way, the top 10 speakingmistakes.com, and I will send you that PDF. And I include a couple little videos to explain each of the mistakes and how to correct them.
That's awesome. So I will definitely have those links in our show notes. And I know that that is a great resource for anyone that's listening, because really we all speak in some way or another, right? Whether it's one-on-one, it's to a group, we are marketing our business. As entrepreneurs, like your first two big high priority tasks is to market. And part of that communication is speaking effectively. So I would love our listeners to find out what mistakes they might be making. One last thing, Darren, before we go, how do you take consistent, massive focused action in your business?
I would say two things. One, it's understanding the importance of that 30 minutes of cleaning a day. I actually put a reminder in my calendar. So every day that reminder pops up. Did you do your cleaning today? And quite honestly, once in a while, I won't. But as long as I'm doing it like 4 out of the 5 days, I'm better off because I did. And then the second thing is I belong to a mastermind group. And I think it's really important to get together with a group of other entrepreneurs who you can brainstorm for each other. So we get together once a month, and I think it's really important. And even though I think, I've got a 3-hour meeting coming up, by the time I'm done, I'm like jacked. I've got new ideas. I've helped some of my best friends, and I look forward to next month.
Oh, that is great. I'm glad you shared that. Mastermind for me as well. I would say it's one of the best ways that I have grown my business. And for the same reasons that you said too, the energy, the collaboration, they're my best buddies. Not only those 3 hours once a month, but it's a relationship ongoing, like your board of directors.
And it's somebody in between that if you've got an important question, they know and understand your business and what you're trying to accomplish. You can shoot an email or a text, and boom, they jump on it. They give you feedback from a place of knowing, which I think is great. And if you're listening to this and you don't know what masterminds are, highly recommend go get the book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And he has a whole chapter just on masterminds. It's brilliant. So
we're going to let our listeners in on a little secret. We're going back and forth, but the elephant in the room is that Darren and I are in the same mastermind group. And so we get the blessing of growing life, doing business together, and just really pouring into each other in a way that I never expected.
So I get straight talk once a month, whether I like it or not.
And I'm pretty sure it's more than once a month you get from me, but we'll go with once a month for sure at our mastermind meetings. Awesome, Darren. Thank you for being our guest. I'm so happy that you were here, and this has been amazing. Thanks for just giving us so much value and information and insights from your X amount of years of entrepreneurial experience.
Hey, Amber, thanks for having me. And if I've learned nothing from my whole experience as an entrepreneur, it's if you take away my struggle, you take away my growth.
While I loved having you listen to Productivity Straight Talk, I need to be straight with you. No change, no change. Without taking action, nothing will change for you or your business. So based on what you learned, what will you take action on today? To share your actionables and receive support, guidance, and motivation from entrepreneurs just like you, join us inside the Productivity Straight Talk private Facebook community. Go to productivitycommunity.com. So that's my straight talk for today. I look forward to next week when I'll be talking all about your big why, not just another stupid exercise. And until next time, have a productive week.